wealth of knowledge that sits in knowing and sharing and understanding that gene sequence. I wanted to stretch our minds just a little more to an area of science that we will never know enough about. And it's where our remoteness and our vast distances will provide new opportunities, and that's space. When I look to the future and I want to know what it's going to be like, I simply go and talk to our astronomers. They show me the future of communication, they show me the future of data handling, and they even show how we're going to do science. Because for communication, space is the ultimate frontier. Just look at little Voyager 1 spacecraft. So Voyager 1 is now 17 billion kilometres from the Sun. It's twice as far away as Pluto. It is operating on 20 watts of power. It's the same power as the light in your fridge. And our deep space communication complex at Tidbinbilla, just out of Canberra, which we run on behalf of NASA, our guys talk to Voyager. Twice the distance of Pluto, a light in the fridge, and they can listen and talk to Pluto. That's why when I want to know what's going to happen with the future of communications, I go talk to our astronomers. They are absolutely listening to the faintest of signals, and they are defining the future of wireless communication. Who would have known that our efforts in the 70s to listen to some of the whispers of the black holes would have led to the chip technology developed in this nation that now underpins ubiquitous wireless LAN around the world, installed in 1 billion devices, soon to be in 4.5 billion devices. And all because of something that happened in a lab in Australia. But our vision is expanding, and over 20 years ago our scientists imagined a telescope so large and so powerful that it could answer some of the most fundamental questions of astronomy and physics. And that vision was the beginning of the Square Kilometre Array project. It will be the world's most impressive telescope. It will link several thousand of antennas together in a single network, and it will act as a single giant telescope. It will be capable of looking back to the dawn of time, and my astronomers assure me we will be able to see every single supergalaxy ever created. I'm still having trouble with that one, but they assure me, especially around budget time. In May this year, and they always amaze us, this team, they hooked up the radio telescopes at Parkes, the Dish, Narrabri, Hobart, Ceduna, Warkworth in New Zealand with the first antenna that we'd just managed to put up in Western Australia, and they created for the first time a 5,500 kilometre baseline telescope, a completely new telescope, 10 times the resolution of the Hubble telescope. And they already used it to lock into the heart of the closest supergalaxy to us, which is Centaurus A. If we could walk out tonight and see what our radio telescope could see, you would see a major structure in the night sky, maybe a fifth of the night sky, taken up with a little supergalaxy spewing out radio waves that, as I said, would be visible. We would be able to see them spewing out from the poles. What they did was look right into the heart of this and looked at the black hole right at the centre of this that was jetting out our radio particles at close to the speed of light. It's more than 14 million light years away. It was like taking the photograph of a pin at 20 kilometres. And this image, of course, completely new to science. They are pushing the boundaries of communication. They are pushing the boundaries of computing and data handling. This multidisciplinary project that Australia is vying for, and maybe we should get Frank, when he's finished with the soccer, to come and help us with SKA. It will bring data never before seen from the sky at a volume that we have never managed before to one of the biggest supercomputers in the world in Perth, and we will operate that with some of the most advanced energy technology in the world. So they're the things that are easy. And speak to our uniquenesses. there are some new global markets that will be really, really hard because we're going to have to compete globally. And these market opportunities will be in green technologies, in technologies that decrease our use of energy, reduce our environmental footprint. There'll be service opportunities that are unlocked by the power of the networks that I mentioned, smart grids, water, environmental services. But we will have no free ride as a nation here. And why? Because these market opportunities will be open to one of the greatest shifts in innovation that we've ever seen in the history of manufacturing and services, and that is the emergence of the large low-income markets in India and China. They're driving a new wave of reverse innovation. They're helping develop very high-quality products at completely different price models. Tata of India's $2,000 car. Service models such as the Care Hospital in Hyderabad, where US-trained doctors can perform open-heart surgery for $6,000 versus $100,000 in the US. So this will put game-changing price and performance pressures on our manufacturing industries from the developing nation. What will it mean to us is we have to be absolutely ruthless about our prioritisation, and we are looking at all out of innovation, not for small improvements, but if we're not addressing major shifts in price, then we're wasting our time. One example that just might make it through, I think, to the next generation from this nation is printable electronics. We led the world in developing the polymer banknotes, and we did it because we were responding to a requirement to improve our fraud protection. And we are now leading the world in printable electronics. This is our latest solar cell. Flexible, polymer, very smart inks, very small volume. The intellectual property is all in the very small molecules that we simply print the way we print money. Not only can our scientists take the light from the sun and turn it into electricity, but they've also learned how to take a single electron and turn it into a photon. We're now producing screens, films that can produce bright light from electricity. So as a nation, we've shown we can compete. It's going to be really tough and tougher than we've ever seen it before in our manufacturing and services area. But we've shown we can compete in services. We've demonstrated the global strength of our financial services with its credit stability, its good regulation. Our banks are capitalised and they're profitable. There will be new services markets, and one of the ones we're most excited about is the potential for environmental and climate services based on global networks of satellite and robotic sensors. Each one of you, each local district that you live in, each company that you work for, each state that you live in will want to know what the trends and what the projections for climate will be so that they can adapt to that future. And that's a service that this nation should be very good at providing. So I've talked about the major challenges and how we're connected, and we'll need to be good at our fundamental science and fundamental understandings, and also how things are connected. And this connectedness, of course, will drive us to mission-directed science, to multidisciplinary teams. I learnt today from the head of Chinese Academy that they will now adopt Australia's innovation model, equivalent to our CSIRO flagships, to work on the national challenges. They will call them the strategic projects of China, and they will have 10 projects, very much like CSIRO's 10 national flagships. And I think that's a hallmark of how we're seeing investment in science now fully getting behind some of these big challenges and connectedness. But there's something else that we have to do well, and this will require a major shift, and it will require a major shift in the way we invest. Global investment in R&D is growing faster than global GDP. If you look at just US, Japan, China and Germany, there's 60% of the sort of gross domestic expenditure on R&D. Australia's 1.3%.